Shauna, thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate it.
Hello, Bill. Thanks for having me.
So, just so the viewers know, like I'm sure your voice sounds very familiar to them. You were actually called into the show. What was that, last week or the week before last? Whenever Marjorie was on her show.
Yep, I think it was
Uh,
the week before last.
yeah, week before last. Now, you and I have been talking for quite some time, and I know your story, and I cannot wait to share your journey. And I know I know I say that with everybody, but like I truly like mean it for everybody. Like you have a remarkable story, especially like the latest updates. So let's kind of get into it. So tell us who you are and where you're from, and tell us about the family and all that fun stuff.
Okay, so my name is Shauna. I'm from Orange County, New York. About an hour and a half outside of New York City. I'm a mother of four, three adults and one teenager. I worked for a large medical supply company for years. Right now, due to everything that's going on, I haven't been able to work.
Right.
Sorry, I'm outside. I don't know if you can hear. There's a lot of background noise.
I wanted to go outside today as well, but like the huge thunderstorms are coming through, so like I'm back inside again.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the fresh air while I can.
Yep, yep, I'm with you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
so at before all this was going on, I was full-time student at Orange County Community College, which is a community college in my area. For actually I was going for nursing for my RN.
oh wow.
Um and then everything began. So if you want me to go, I'll go.
Well, so tell me about what began. So, like, what kind of symptoms were you having? Like,
So it started with the first time. Now that I go back, I realized I started getting hives out of nowhere. Just huge hives all over my body. They would be like this long, all over my back, all over my arms. Went to my regular primary care. They said maybe it was something I ingested, maybe something I rubbed up against, laundry soap. It was all these things it could have been. Benadryl, and that was the end of it. This happened for months, on and off, on and off. That kind of faded away. And it started, I remember I was going to Pennsylvania, actually, towards the Poconos for like a little vacation weekend. And driving there, by the time I got there, just from holding the steering wheel, my hands were hurting. My hands were hurting. My feet were hurting. I knew, this is when I knew, I said, something's not right.
right,
So here goes the gauntlet of doctors. So this kept going on. It would come in like waves. I would feel horrible, tired, fatigue, muscle ache, weakness in my hands and feet, back and forth to the doctors. But every time it was like it left a little residue every time. Like a little bit of my symptoms would stay, but they would resolve enough to just keep on going.
right.
So went to every doctor you could think of: neurologist, urologist, hematologist, a rheumatologist, all the ologists. Went to all of them. Numerous scans, nerve testing, everything. By the end of the gauntlet, I had a doctor sit down and tell me, "Are you okay mentally? Because we really think this is anxiety or mentally driven." At the time, I wasn't saved, and so I gave her a piece of my mind, and that was it. But it really got to the point where even my family was questioning, "Am I a hypochondriac? There's nothing wrong with her," but I knew something was wrong. So that started in 2020.
Oh, okay. 2020. Oh, wow. So, yeah, it's been a while. 6 years.
Yeah. So 2020, I saw a pulmonologist. We did a lung scan. He told me, "Shauna, everything's good with your lungs. They look beautiful. You got a little hiatal hernia. That's it." I'll hang on to that because that becomes important
Yep.
after.
Yep.
So fast forward to February of 2021, I was having problems swallowing. Like my food would go to here and then it would go no further and I would kind of like almost spit up. So that ended me up in the hospital for 3 days. They did all kinds of tests, scans on me, everything, tell me it's normal. I'm like, are you sure? Something has to be wrong. They're discharging me, and I'm like, you sure? Everything, yes, everything's fine. We found nothing. Follow up with your regular doctor. The same stuff I was hearing for the longest time.
Yep.
So now, fast forward, I have the same problem with the swallowing, but this time it's coupled by the weakness, the body aches, all this. I end up going to urgent care. He says, all right, I'm going to scan you immediately. Gives me a PET scan, comes back and his face is white as a ghost. He wouldn't even look at me. He said, "Uh, you have to see your doctor immediately. You have a possible," and I didn't, at that time, I didn't even know what he was saying to me, but
Yep.
it was just a possible, I just heard omas, like, I don't know, possible this oma, that oma. I didn't even know the medical terminology at that point. But he just said, like, you have to see a doctor immediately. So I go back to the pulmonologist. He says, okay, yeah, this doesn't look good. We're going to give you a PET scan, which we know they're going to inject the radioactive glucose dye into
Yep.
you. And then they're going to see what are these spots that we're seeing. So,
So let me stop you for a
yeah,
second.
sure.
So, like when you went to urgent care, did they do an X-ray or did they do it? I thought you said a PET scan at urgent care,
CT
but
scan.
oh,
CT.
CT scan. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, so I'm in Sam's when my daughter was shopping in there, and I get a phone call at like 8 o'clock at night. It's the pulmonologist, and he said, Shauna, and me and him had a really good relationship. He said, Shauna, I have some bad news for you. And I'm like, okay. And there's no reception. It gets cut off. That's all I hear.
Oh
So
my
I'm
God.
like, yeah, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. But I kind of, at that point, I was already like, I kind of already knew when he said that, but I
Well,
don't know.
sure. Yeah. I mean, you've been dealing
Yeah,
with this for like for a year now at this point, right? You have all
yeah,
these symptoms. Nobody can find out what's going on, but you know something's going on. So
yeah,
I'm sure you're thinking the worst at that point.
yeah. So I get out in the parking lot. I'm able to call him back, and he said, Shauna, you got had a couple of things light up on the PET scan. And he's like, and I'm, what does that mean? Because I don't even know at that. What is it? Things lit up on the PET scan? Well, it means metabolic. It's looking like there's cancer there. But we're going to do a biopsy to make sure. Okay. Go through. I didn't really say anything. I just have to have this biopsy. Go in. I see the thoracic surgeon. He says to me, okay, what's going to happen is it looks like it's in the thymus gland area. So we're going to go in, we're going to take out your thymus gland, and we'll do a biopsy off of the thymus gland when we take it out. So, okay, I wake up from that and I said, oh, did he take it out? And he said, the nurse goes to me, oh, he didn't speak to you yet? And I said, no, he didn't. And she said, oh, okay. He'll be in to speak to you in a little bit. So he comes. The doctor was acting so strange. He wouldn't look me in the eye. He's like staring out into the window. And he's like, well, Miss Black, I went in, the surgery, we didn't take your thymus gland out. I went in and I saw multiple areas of concern. So I took pieces along your diaphragm, the lining of your lung, and a little bit of the thymus gland. We're going to test it. But I'm thinking you have what's either called a thymoma, which is kind of like a cancer, but it's not. This was what he first told me, or lymphoma.
Hmm.
So now, mind you, I still have everything inside of me.
Yeah. Yep.
So we do that. Week later, go back to get the stitches because they did robotic surgery. So they went in, I had the three holes,
Yeah.
and
Yep. The laparoscopic. Yep.
laparoscopic. Yep.
Yep.
So went in to get the stitches out, and he said, "Well, Shauna, it's confirmed. You have thymoma." So I was with my mom at the time. To me, it just went blank because I haven't had the easiest life. So for me, it was like it's kind of like a trauma response, I guess. Is like I kind of like just turn off and then just go. You know what I mean? Because there was never time in my life to like stop, let it marinate, or stay in any type of state because I always had to just keep going, just keep going, just keep
Yep.
going. So my mom was very upset. All I thought about the whole time was my kids and them seeing me lose my hair, whatever you think cancer looks like, lose your hair, waste away, sick, and that was my main concern for
So how old were your kids at the time?
at the time I had a 10-year-old, 13, 16, and 18.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, whenever I got my diagnosis, my kids were they were in high school. I mean, they were getting close to graduation. They were probably about 2 years away from being. My youngest were 2 years away from graduating, but and I thought that was rough. But having kids that young, wow, that's something,
Yeah, and I'm all they got. I've been a single
right?
mother for many, many years.
Yeah.
So, but to honestly to tell you the truth, I was 39 years old. I didn't know how to tell them. I didn't know the best way to tell them gently. I guess I just told them how I was told. Looking back, I think I should have thought about it maybe a little bit before I told them, but I didn't know, and nobody told me, and I don't, I
That that's
just,
that's an interesting comment that you made. Like, how do you tell kids that age? I can't remember how my kids found out. Well, my oldest I told right away. So like I had a colonoscopy, and he was my driver for the day. So like as soon as I got out to the parking lot, I told him, hey, they just said I had cancer.
ugh.
As far as my twins are concerned, I have no idea how they found out. Like, I mean, it was all blur. I mean,
But how did your
it's all
son?
blur.
Well, that's how I feel. It's like I don't even remember really how I told them.
Yep, yep, yeah. So I don't remember the conversation with my son Colby. But I mean, I know I sat down within 5 seconds of being in the car. I know I told him, but I have no idea what he said and what I said after that. Like the next 2 days were probably a big blur for me.
Nothing. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It was like nothing, like a bunch of just nothing.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's what I remember. So after that, I went to New York City because I live in a smaller town outside of the city, and I knew this was big, and I was gonna need experience. So I traveled outside to New York City. They got all the pathology from the biopsy, and that was when I got staged. And they said, "I'm sorry to tell you, Ms. Beck, but at this point, I'm stage 4. You have stage 4A thymoma, which is different than a regular stage 4 because 4A, it goes off a Masoka Koga stage, right? So stage 4 means that it's spread to the pleura, diaphragm, possible pericardium, which is the lining around the heart,
Yep.
but not to distant parts. So widely spread in the chest area. Um, Thank God it's not anywhere else in my body, or else I wouldn't be eligible for what we're going to talk about in a minute.
Okay.
So what I asked right away, because I was confused, I had done all these tests since 2020 leading up to now. This is November of 21, and nobody saw a 3 centimeter mass in my chest. So I asked the surgeon and my oncologist in New York, I said, well, how long did I have it? And he said, at least 2 years. So now that right there, it just stayed in the back of my mind, but I had bigger fish to fry at that point in time.
Right. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I had a
Yeah.
huge situation, but my mindset was, okay, what do I need to do? How do we get rid of it? What do we do? So it was, they wanted me to do 4 rounds of cap and then see where we're at and then do a surgery, which would basically remove the thymus gland and then clean up, like a debulking, clean up any residuals. But they told me at that time it will likely always come back. Um, he told me it was incurable at that time, but we can set you back where you won't have a problem for some time. But because it's stage 4 and it already spread outside of that, you'll always have thymoma. So
During my battle, whenever they told me it was stage 4, nobody told me at that point, like, hey, this treatment's probably more of a let's expand the amount of time that you have left instead of like, let's fight this thing and let's beat this thing. I really wish at that point they would have told me right up front, but I think they were scared to have that conversation with me.
You know what? I noticed that depending on who your doctor is and the type of doctor that they are, a lot of them have a problem with that. And I understand. You want to always leave hope for
Yeah.
something.
Yep.
And some people are like, give it to me raw. And other people would rather not hear
Yep.
that,
Yep. Yep.
you know?
That's got to be difficult for a doctor to decide like what kind of person they're dealing with, like somebody that wants the news right off top, just give it to me straight, or be gentle with the information. Hey, I'm not going to pretend like I know what I'm talking about. Where is the thymus gland located at?
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's another thing because some people, everybody's like the thyroid. Like,
Right.
no. Okay, so your thymus gland is really it's located underneath your thyroid. It's in front of your heart, and and for you, it's probably gone already. So when you're a baby, it's huge. As you get older, it gets smaller, 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 smaller until it turns into basically a benign piece of fat tissue.
Uh,
It's the control center for your immune system. So this is how it was explained to me. Your thymus gland is like school for your immune system. Baby T cells go in, they get trained of what to do in the thymus gland, and then they come out mature and ready to fight and do what they're supposed to do.
okay.
That's yeah, which makes mine tricky because some alternative treatments or other things are set on revving up that immune system. But mine is overactive, but doesn't know what to do either. It's like they're going to school, but they're not really learning.
Gotcha.
But you can hype them up and they can learn to get the wrong things. So with thymoma, a lot of times there's a lot of autoimmune, which they're called paraneoplastic diseases. Myasthenia gravis is one that's huge with thymoma. I personally have Hashimoto's, which has turned into hypothyroidism, and I have Sjogren's syndrome also ever since this. So I always have to be tested for autoimmune diseases because they could develop at any point in time.
Gotcha. Let's back up a little bit. You said you had to do 4 rounds of cap. What is 4 rounds of cap?
Okay, so that's cisplatin, adriamycin, which is known as the red devil chemo, and cyclophosphamide. So it's all three of those one time every 3 weeks. So it's a 21-day cycle of cap. It's pretty intense. So you're gonna lose your hair, your eyebrows, nose hair, arm hair. There's nothing left. There's steroids involved, so there's a lot of dexamethasone. Especially for me, I'm allergic to prednisone, so it's dexamethasone day before, day of, day after, and then you get your infusion. Um, to be honest, the first time I really slept a lot. I slept, 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 slept. Other than that, I really didn't have any typical symptoms. I just slept. I was hungry all the time, I think from the dexamethasone,
Yep.
and tired. That's it from that.
So whenever I was on that steroid, I couldn't sleep because of that steroid. So it's crazy like how all that affects everybody so differently.
Oh, it had you up.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. Yep.
Really?
I hate that drug. I hate it.
Yeah.
Um, tell me about losing your hair. How hard was that?
Honestly, I was never, I actually had, my son at the time was 13. I had him shave my hair. A week after my first infusion, I went I actually all right. I went to the bathroom and I had a surprise and it was all over the place and I said, "Oh, it must be happening." So I went like this with my hair and just chunks of hair just came out, and I said, "All right, it's time to get rid of it." And my 13-year-old, I had him shave it off, and after that, he told me mine. He said that was the day that I realized, like, my mom has cancer. He didn't until that day, and I've never really been vain, so to me, it was like, all right. I think every woman, I'm speak for myself, secretly is like, oh, I would love to just shave my head and be
Oh
free
yeah,
of this and
I've
see
heard
what
that
it's
once or
like.
twice. Yep.
So I mean, I took it with a grain of salt, honestly. It didn't affect me the way that it may, and I'm not taking away from anybody else. I can understand how for some women, even some men, it could be very traumatic.
So for me, like I was already balding, so like it wasn't a big deal when I had to shave my head. I love it now, like because I don't have to worry about it, right? Like
Easy,
it's great.
right?
Um, but I can tell you, like when I had to shave it because of the cancer, I was pissed. Like I was pissed off,
Yeah.
not because how I was going to look, but just because like I felt like the cancer was winning that day.
That it was taking something from you.
Yeah. Yep. 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 So
Well, that was part of the reason why I shaved it as soon as I saw it, because I figured if I'm gonna lose it, I'm gonna
so good for you.
get rid
Yep.
of it.
Yep. And that's exactly like whenever I stopped. So I stopped doing chemo. I'm back on chemo now, but like I stopped doing it for like a year, and I continued to shave my head because I thought, you know what? No, I'm not going to like grow the hair back and then lose it again to the cancer or to the chemo. I'm going to be in charge of this. So good for you for having that mentality right from
Yeah,
the get
one
go.
way of keeping control of something that's completely out of control.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. All right. So that was back in 2000 and well 2021, I believe, right? Whenever you're doing that chemo.
Yeah, so 22 we had gotten to February. I remember my older brother said, "Wait, do a 30-day water fast first, and then see, and then if it doesn't work, then after that." And in my head, I'm like, "You're absolutely crazy." Like they're telling I'm gonna do whatever they tell me that I need to do. Do I regret not doing that? No, but I think I had the time to at the time. Not that it would have saved me, but it wouldn't have been something that was outside of the realm of possibility. Um,
You brought up a memory for me. Like I remember distinctly back in college, like back in like 1996, being in a computer lab, and I read some kind of article on whatever Yahoo that said, "Hey, this guy like smoked weed and cured his cancer." And I thought to myself, you know what? If I ever get cancer, I'm not going to do that chemotherapy thing. I'm going to try to do some natural stuff. But when I got diagnosed with the cancer, all that went out the window. No,
oh, it
give
all
me the drugs.
changes then.
Give me all the drugs because, like, it's real life. So, like, yeah, I completely understand what you're talking about there.
Yeah, it's
So,
like, yeah, different.
yep, yep, yep.
Different. A lot
It,
of people say that I would never take the chemo. You don't
yeah,
know that until
until,
the
yep,
doctor tells you that.
yep, you're absolutely right.
And
So,
you know
you
what?
did,
Especially if they tell you like there's a chance that this can cure you. My suggestion would be do if you're in an earlier stage, do what they tell you to do. You can do all those other things alongside, but
yep.
do what they tell you to do.
So, I assume you did not do a 30-day fast, but you do some
No.
fasting, don't you?
Oh, I did lots and lots for 3 years. Yes, every month, 3 to 10. The longest I went was 10 days of a water fast. And let me tell you, I do believe that people have had amazing results from fasting. That did not work for me in
Right.
that sense, but I do attribute my health and the abilities that I had throughout those years on fasting. I felt wonderful.
So I've never gone longer than a 3 day, but I love the 3 day. I'd be Tell me about the 10 day. Like how bad are the 10 days? Like what do you do to like kind of get through that? Are you I assume you're doing like um what am I looking for? You're taking something like to get through those 10 days, right?
Salt and water.
Just salt and water.
Salt,
Okay.
water, maybe tea, like herbal teas.
Yep.
Black coffee if I feel really like I need something.
Yep.
But other than that, and let me tell you something, when you have more weight on you, it's a lot easier. So after so many years, I had less fat reserves on me, which made it more difficult for me to fast all the time. But I do think that like that's what repaired my body from the first set of chemo, was that, because it breaks down all the damaged cells, and your body actually uses those for energy
Yep.
first.
Yep.
So it was like a cleanup for my body constantly. Plus I stayed away from sugar, carbs, all that stuff. I did all that life, the carnivore,
Yep.
all that. And I would just say for me, it was a great way to live. I felt amazing the whole entire time. Did it cure
100%.
my cancer? No. Did it
Yep.
shrink my tumors? No. Am I saying that it doesn't work for anybody? No. But it just didn't work for me. But I would suggest doing it alongside of anything that you're doing.
I mean, there's gonna be people watching this that don't have cancer. Like I even recommend everything that you just said for people that don't have cancer.
Yeah.
For me, like the fasting, like day one, kind of annoying. Day two, even more annoying. Day three, feel amazing. Feel absolutely amazing.
Clear mind, clear
Yeah.
thinking,
Yep.
you have this burst of energy, you can get things done. For me, I'm a believer, so it really takes away all the distractions. Even that food distracts you from your spirit, you know what I mean? So like for me, my spirit is at the forefront when I fast, and that's amazing and it's wonderful. And it's a way for me to communicate with God in a very pure way, I feel like. And it does wonders for your body. It really does.
How was your How was your faith back in 2021 when you got diagnosed? Is that something that you had back then, or is that something that you've improved, increased on throughout the years?
Well, I believe that the Lord called me years before that. I just wasn't walking with him. I was crawling.
Yeah.
um, you know, uh and a lot of people don't like this, and people may say this and that, but I feel like we're given trials and tribulations. God cares about your spirit and your soul for eternity. That's how I feel. I feel like life is very temporary here. And no matter what anybody says, I don't think that God was like, hey, let me pick cancer and give it to Shauna. But things happen. And my relationship with the Lord has went from a crawl to a sincere walk. And if it took cancer to get me to walk with God the way that I am, so that my soul is saved for eternity, well, that's what it took, because I know myself. I'm very stubborn, very hard headed, have to make the same mistake over and over and over again. And this has always made me realize that every moment, like getting caught up in the world and paying bills and going to work and going to school and doing all these things, not that they're not important, but I'm taking for granted the things that are most important, which are relationships with people, with other human beings.
Yep.
The self-centeredness and the selfishness that I was living. And I don't mean like that's mine, give me this, give me that, or always thinking about me first, but actually putting other people first and living right with a clear conscience and a clear mind, and trying to be a blessing to others even in my struggle. It's just the things that are important with life, seeing past what's just this right here. um and yeah, 100 times stronger. I have a relationship. I actually have a relationship with the Lord.
Shauna, we are so aligned on so many things that we're talking about right here. People are going to say I'm crazy for saying this, but there are benefits to getting cancer. And then you kind of touched on a bunch of those, like just the way that you look at things that used to be important to you, once upon a time, you realize now none of that's important. What is important is your relationship with God, your relationship with others, and like, how can we just be better people and just help each other?
Yeah, you're doing a great thing right now. And I believe that this is ordained by God. And if it was all for it, like if this was all for one purpose and it was to bring me home, well, that's what it did. And it also like going back to everything that's happened to like what's happening now is this is has all that. Let me real quick before we lose, right? Because I could talk about that forever. So after I went for after my chemo, I went for my surgery. I woke up. My mom said to me, Shauna, you don't remember what they told you? And I said, no. So my brother comes in and he says, Shauna, he said, I got to tell you, they didn't take anything out. There was too much cancer. They can't get it out. And I said, for this, the first time I cried, I said, am I going to die? And he couldn't even answer me. Nobody could answer me, but that was when the first time when I realized, okay, I'm not going to make you out of this alive, right? So now they told me go home. The only other option we have for you is to remove your lung, which at that time was like so far from where I was ready. I felt good. No, so, I go home. Now, this 3 years of what we were just talking about, I fasted, I did keto, I did carnivore, I ate right, I exercised, I lived life, I went to church, I volunteered, I had my Bible studies, I was living life, I was having a great time,
Yep.
right? Everything was good. But in the midst of this, I said, wait, what rang a bell to me when my doctor told me, Shauna, you had this for at least 2 years. So I start going back in my medical notes and I see that the hospital visit that I had, actually the CT came back and the radiologist that read it said that a close follow-up was advised to rule out a neoplasm. This was never conveyed to me. And the only reason why I can speak about it is because it's already been resolved outside of court. So I'm just going to say that's exactly what happened. And through that process, we found out in 2020 that it was there, but it was read as a clear scan. So not once, but 2 times, right? And so I said, this has to be only like how does that happen to one person, not one scan
Right.
but 2 scans?
So did they go over that second set of scans at all with you and like just ignored that comment that hey, you probably should have a follow up or
No, Bill. Actually, at that time, I was under the same impression. I think like 95% of the citizens are in that what the doctor says is what it is. The doctor said there's no abnormal findings. This is what I was told. Nothing in my head said, "Hey, double check. Go look." And at the time it was like I said, it was 2020, 2021. So they had just started implementing like the my charts and
yep.
the all those things had just begun. So for me it was like okay, and I was so used to hearing that same thing. There's nope, nothing wrong, nope, nothing wrong. I just took for word what they said. So one thing I definitely always want to say, if anybody hears my story, always double check. No matter what they say, read the report your scans. Ask questions, ask to see the images, ask to see the report, ask for copies of these things. Don't take anybody's word. You need to see everything.
Let me add to that a little bit. So I was having a conversation today with one of my good friends, Becky, also a fellow fighter. So Becky, I know you're listening, so shout out to you. This is why, like, I look at my CT scans before I talk to my doctor. I will take a look at those CT scans. I'll see what it says in there. If I don't understand it, I mean, we live in a time where we can just AI anything, right? And it'll
Yep.
dumb it down for us and explain it to us all. So, like, I can go into that meeting with a doctor and have those questions ready to ask. And if he doesn't talk about that one line where it says, "Hey, we should have a follow up," that's where you bring it up. Like, take charge of your medical stuff.
You have to.
Yep.
Not only
Absolutely.
advocate for yourself, but you are in charge of your own medical health. And if someone is, if somebody's, if you, because we've always been, I think even like my mother's generation, definitely was like the doctor was the end all be all.
Yeah.
Whatever they said was like gospel. You know what I mean? They took that. We're not living in that world anymore. And like you were saying about AI, it will even give you the questions to ask to your doctor if you need
Right.
them.
Yeah.
you know
Yep. Absolutely.
but yeah, so dealing with that was a huge spoonful to eat, to swallow. The fact that at that time it had not spread anywhere, and had it had been found at stage which is considered zero, it would have been an easy 1 day in and out surgery,
Yeah.
and that would have been it. But that was not part of the plan.
So let's make sure I got it clear because I really don't. I know you did your 4 rounds of the cap, right? And then you did or tried to do the surgery, and then it said no. So then, did you do additional chemotherapy, or that was it? Just living your best life, like you said earlier.
Nope. Then I took my brother's advice. He said, Shauna, do that 30-day fast. And I said, okay, well, it's not outside of the realm. They told me there's nothing we can do but take your lung out. So I'm going to try to do everything else that I hear that's out there. Everything at Tractor Supply. I'm going to try to do everything.
So you really did a 30-day fast. Like I know you did the 10-day,
I
but you
didn't do
did a
30.
30.
I didn't do
No.
30. I
Okay.
didn't last 30. No,
Okay.
no. So I started with it. It was 7 days every single month, 7 days. The most I pushed myself was to 10. I could have went longer, but by the time I did that 10, I was already was thin. So it was really, really difficult for me. Um, but I did this consistently for 3 years. Um,
Wow.
yeah, up until last year. So, I mean, you have cancer, always in my head, I said, whenever the fluid comes, you're in trouble. Like, I always knew that. Like, whenever they see fluid, like, you've turned a corner. You're in trouble.
Yep.
And I always knew that. My one brother that me and him are like soul connected. I always told him that, like, bro, if there's ever a time like when the fluid comes, I know that, like, it's like wrestling when they bring the bell, like short time. Like, I knew things would be bad then. And last year I ended up with a large pleural effusion in my left lung. And I knew then we just turned a corner.
Yeah.
Um So we had a thoracentesis, which, to remove it. But by the end of the week, I was back in the hospital and full again. So I ended up having a catheter put in, where you drain yourself every
Yeah.
couple of days. I had that up until December. When every time, it was strange though, because every time I fasted with that, the fluid would go away. And if I took steroids with that, the fluid would go away,
Hmm.
which was strange.
So my
Um,
my CT scan back in April actually showed some fluid starting to build in my abdomen. So like that was a thought. I had the same thought that you did. Like once we get to that stage, that's when we're getting really serious. We're about to turn for the worst. But the last CT scan showed that kind of it hasn't gotten any worse, hasn't gotten any better, but it kind of plateaued. So good sign there. But so
yeah, I
tell me more.
watched your video the other day about
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
So tell me more about that drain though. Like if I have to go through that, so like literally it's just like a drain that you can open up and close.
Yeah, so you
How
go
does that
same
work?
day surgery. It's actually hanging out. Like, I have a YouTube channel. I do have videos I never got to upload them because it was hard for me to find videos on how to drain yourself, and also all that you need to know these things. But what you'll have is like a tube coming out, and it has a valve. It comes out of your side, and you hook it up to like a bulb, right? And then you open it up, you let it go. You'll feel like this strange feeling when you're getting low, and it'll start to drip low. You hit the valve, disconnect the bulb, and then you wrap it up, you cover it up. You got to be really careful because those, because it's from inside of your body and it's external, there's
Yeah,
always risks of infection. So
sure.
it's something that they don't like to leave in for too long. They like it more of a temporary thing. But I'm telling you, it was the best thing I could have done. And now that I look back at it, I always am like, I was living fine with it. In the beginning, it stunk. You know what I mean? Because the reality that you have to come to is like, I
Sure.
really have a bulb. I have to drain my body every 2 weeks. This is insane. But a lot of things could be worse. After that, I'm like, it's not that bad, you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Exactly. The things we have to do to stay alive.
Yep.
Hey, real quick, like you mentioned your YouTube page, I just put a link in the comments to subscribe to your channel. So that's out there. And while I was there, I do see some people that are disagreeing with our water fasting. Like Lisa Lamb, tell me why you strongly disagree with it. Adrian, tell me why you can't, why you're not able to do it. I'm sorry. Let's go back to you, Shauna.
No, no, no. That's
Yep.
fine because I kind of knew that would come. That's always, to each his own.
Yeah.
But I can only say from my experience for someone who's done it, does it, will continue to do it. Um, I got nothing but great things from that.
Right.
Um, yeah.
So, like during my journeys, like several people in my community realized that I was doing it, and so they decided to do it with me as well. And it was something they thought they would never be able to do, but once they did it, made it to day 3, and realized how good that feels. Now they do it all the time.
Yeah, it's great for you. I mean, if you think about ancient times, food was not, there wasn't a grocery store
Yes.
anywhere, right? So your body had to definitely be designed to go without food for some period of time. And we have something that not other species have, and that's the ability to switch over from glucose fuel to ketone fuel. And
Yep.
that is for times where there is not food available, where you can't hunt, because you think every time a hunter goes out, they catch something. There's not always berries and fruits and vegetables and foliage available to eat. There has to be some other mechanism to sustain us while this happens, which we would then empty out our reserves, clean all of our organs and stuff before we eat again.
Yep.
There's a difference between starvation and fasting. That's all I'm going
Absolutely.
to say. I don't like to get into the arguments because I've had people in my life, good friends, that have told me that it's a horrible idea. They think it's bad for me. I shouldn't be doing that. I'm going to hurt myself and blah, 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 all these things. And I just hate to debate it. To each his own. If you want to, it just, for as long as we can go back, I know that there wasn't food available all the time, but people still got up and did what they needed to do inside of their village to keep it going. So
I remember before I was fasting, you have to eat those 3 meals a day, and like everybody kind of feels that way. Like now, whatever. If I don't eat today, I don't care. Doesn't matter. I mean, I eat every day, but like I
yeah,
don't need to eat every day. It's
it's
not a big
not,
deal.
once you fast, you're like, oh my God. Before that, you're like, go without eating for 3 days? What? Like,
I
it
was
sounds crazy.
I was stuck in an airplane a couple months back. I was on the runway for 6 hours. We were stuck on the runway. Long
Mm.
story, but like I remember the girl behind us freaking out because like she hadn't eaten for 7 hours. And I'm just thinking, big freaking deal. Big freaking deal, right? All
We're
right.
conditioned to think that. That's what it is. It's just human conditioning.
Yep. Yep.
That's all.
Let's get back to your cancer story. I don't know
Sure.
where we left off at.
So
Well, I
my
remember.
surgery, yeah, I went
Yep.
3 years and such up until last April is when the fluid came. I had the catheter up until December. They removed it because I wasn't draining much, but literally a week later, I couldn't breathe. I felt like I had an elephant sitting on my chest. I felt like I was suffocating. I went to the hospital. They told me there was fluid there, but not enough to where they would drain me or put the drain back in. But they could see a process of inflammation. So I don't know if removing the tube created an inflammatory response, which we know is not good for cancer.
Yep.
It loves that environment. And so I was put on dexamethasone every day, 4 milligrams. Pretty nasty for 3 months. Until again, now at this point, I had no other choice but to take chemo. And really, there's not, because it's such a rare cancer, there's not so many options for chemo that works. Oh, I forgot to tell you, before I had the drain taken out, I did do chemo in September. I did carboplatin and Taxol, and I had no response. I did 2 rounds of that without response, so we stopped it. That I had a lot of nerve uh side
Neuropathy.
effects.
Okay. Yep.
Not so much even like the tingling in the hands and feet. I did the mitts with the ice and stuff, but I had a lot of spinal nerve pain. Yeah, really bad. Really
Hmm.
bad. Lost the hair, eyebrows, all that stuff. So yeah, so fast forward now. So I did CAP again, which is the original chemo that I did. I did have a partial response to that. Nothing great. We were hoping for more, but I can breathe.
Yeah.
So it bought me some time as far as that is. I'm not on any steroids right now, thank God. So after a while they really make you feel crummy.
Yep.
So I decided to go to MD Anderson to
Yeah. How,
get.
how, how did that come up? Like, why MD Anderson?
Okay, so I've always heard, MD Anderson, MD Anderson. We have up here in the Northeast, you have what is that? Sloan
Sloan
Kettering.
Kettering. Yep.
Yes, which I went there. No, they're a great hospital for some people. I did see the oncologist there. I didn't care for him much, to the point where I didn't care if I ever visited with him ever again. I'll just say
Yep.
that. But they actually have specialists in MD Anderson that specialize in my cancer, like not just thoracic cancers or lung cancers, but actual thymomas. So they see and treat these regularly.
Yeah.
So I said, what the heck, at this point, if and I went to NYU, they really said it's unresectable. They put it up against their board and they were not willing. So I took that trip. I flew out with my daughter. We went there and they're actually offered me an EPP, which is a mesothelioma surgery. That's where they usually do it for, is mesothelioma patients,
Okay.
where they are going to remove the entire left lung, the membrane surrounding the left lung, possibly the pericardium. Parts of the diaphragm are going to be reconstructed with, it's like a Gore-Tex, they call it, which is like a
Yeah.
rubberish.
Sure. Yep. Yep.
And then if the pericardium needed to be fixed, also, that if it needs to be replaced. So that's where I'm at right now. And I actually just got the insurance approval.
Nice.
Yeah, yesterday. So, we just got to make plans on staying down there. I'll probably stay down there a little longer than they want me to, just in case there's any complications afterwards. I can go to where I can get the help that I need. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if something, God forbid, huge happened where I'm at, I don't think that they would be capable. So I'd rather stay longer. And
I remember a couple years ago I had a liver ablation done, which a liver ablation, like, there's usually no side effects whatsoever. So we had a liver ablation done and I flew back home right away. And then I was going to go back up the following week to have lung surgery. But whenever I came home, my body reacted to that liver ablation very poorly, collapsed one of my lungs. I mean, I had to go to the local hospital. I was in the hospital for about a week, absolutely miserable, and they didn't know what they were doing. I mean, they weren't the Mayo Clinic. So
Yeah.
now, anytime I have anything done, I always stay like a little longer just to make sure that I don't have any adverse effects.
Complications. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, that's where I'm at now, is even like, because sometimes I'm like, so, like I still get around, I still drive, you know what I mean? I still can do a lot of what I've been able to do. Is like, I'm like, do you really need, even still, I'm still going through this mentally. Do you really need to take your entire, is it real? But it is. That's all I have left. And right now I can breathe because I did the chemo, but eventually, this is how cancer works. This is why it's looked at the way that it is. This is why cancer is such a scary thing, is because cancer is a progress most of the time. Sometimes it progresses fast, sometimes it progresses slow. If you get lucky, it doesn't progress, but eventually it will progress. And I'm to the point, I have to keep on remembering what it was like before when I couldn't breathe.
Right.
You know what I mean? Is that because that's what's real. That's what's really going on. You know?
What are they telling you about like after you get that one lung removed? Like as far as your lung capacity, like will you still be good? Will it take time? Like will you be able
Well,
to like function normally? I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
so I'm looking for, this is why I would like to document what I'm going through, because I'm looking, I'm searching everywhere to try to find, but I
Yeah.
found a couple of people that are like, some of them, I think it depends on your lifestyle, because I see some of them are like, they're at the beach doing push-ups and like pull-ups, and then you have others that are like, oh, I hear them, like my father had it and he could barely walk from here to the bathroom. I really think it's just the lifestyle that you live, and like what you, but my lung is so compressed right now. The doctor said you're probably not using much of that right now. You've already began to compensate for the loss of function on
Yep.
that side.
Yep.
So what it would be for somebody who has full lung function, and for us to remove that would be huge. But for somebody who has already lost that function and you're already compensating, it may not be. I haven't had the pre-surgical testing. I will know exactly what percent of the left lung is functioning, very shortly when I get
Yeah.
there. But I mean, it
My
all
gut my
depends.
gut tells me that you're gonna come out of this just fine. Like I think you're gonna have full function. I
I
really
hope.
do.
I'm praying. I can't even say I hope. I'm just praying. And I just feel like it's all got to be for glory to God, because for them, the way that this all went down for me, and then to be offered, like, this is the only chance I have for like a cure. There's a chance that this surgery could be the end of cancer for me. I
Yeah.
mean, they can't, nobody can guarantee it. In 5, 10 years, it could come back. But if the surgery is successful and my body's able to handle it and recover, we're talking about years without.
Shauna, we kind of glossed over that. Like you went years thinking that you were absolutely going to lose your battle, right?
Yeah.
Young kids at home, and now like complete 180, and like now there's a chance. That's
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
I grieved everything. I grieve. You know how it is when you have cancer. It's like already, well, when you have stage 4, I want to say, I thought I did, because now that I'm in this predicament and I'm going under the knife, now I'm like, was I really okay with that? Like, had I really accepted my, you know what I mean? Like the mortality. But I mean, I grieved seeing my daughter graduate. You know what I mean? Seeing my
Yep.
other daughter get married, my son get married, having grandbabies. Now I'm at that age where I'm like, I can't wait to have a grandbaby. But in my head, I was always thinking like, oh, you're never gonna see that happen. You know what I mean? Or just all these things that I like. that'll never happen. That'll never happen. That I grieved already and let go of. Now all of a sudden it makes me very emotional that there's a chance that all those things I let go of are possible,
Yeah.
which is wonderful,
Yep.
and so that's what got me like, if whatever it's meant to be is going to be, but I do believe that it'll all be for the glory of God. And I'll come out with that because there's nothing I won't do. I feel like if you can water fast, there's no lifestyle change that you can't do.
Yep. Yep.
And whatever I gotta do, if you told me, Shauna, you can only eat celery for the rest of your life, well, then I would only be able to eat celery.
What an amazing way to look at life. Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, Shauna, we got about 3 minutes left here. I know there's
I'm
definitely
sorry
some
I
questions.
soaked up all your time.
No, 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 no. This is exactly what I wanted to have happen. Like, I love your story. I love the fact that, like, well, what I just said. Thought all these years like you weren't going to make it. You're not going to make it. And now there's hope.
Yeah.
Like that. That's amazing. So, what advice do you have for somebody maybe going through exactly what you're going through? Like you said, there's not a lot of people out there that are sharing their stories when it comes to this. So if people are searching for this, they're going to find this. They're going to find this video. What advice do you have for them?
I would just say, you know, one, I have to say first and foremost, love the Lord, work on your relationship with God, and focus on today. Don't focus on tomorrow or next week or next month. Today is what you have. Don't waste your day worrying. Whatever you have the ability to do today, use your ability and do it. If it's even to sit and like color with your kids, whether they're adults or they're children, if all you can do is color today, color today. Live each single day. Don't hold your breath waiting for tomorrow. Live every day.
Shauna, listen to this. Like, you are so positive. Like, your outlook on this is awesome. But I know because I go through it myself, there's been some bad days, right? That you mentally struggled. I'm assuming there's been some bad days. What
Absolutely.
what helps you get through those bad days? Do you have
To
any?
be honest with you,
Yeah,
I'm going to be honest with you, is that I know that life is temporary and that thing that I might have to do, whether it's today, tomorrow, next week, but that transition is going to come no matter what. And everybody has to do it. It's not any different because I think that's the ultimate fear for everyone, right? Like, that's the worst case scenario for everyone, right? Is that we have to transition, we have to leave. On those really bad days, I just try to remember the promises of God. Honestly, that's what honestly gets me through because I don't want to lie and say that there's not times that I'm just driving down the road and I'm hysterical because I think about, not for myself, I think about the pain a child would have from losing a mother. I
yeah,
think about the pain my mother would go through burying her daughter. Those are the things that I cry about when I'm alone. Those are the things that hurt me the most. It's not me being gone, it's the pain of me leaving the people that I love.
yep,
That's the only really thing that I struggle with, that like on the hard days, those are the hard days for me.
yep,
And so because I know that I won't have any consciousness of what's going on here. They'll feel the pain. And so that's what, when I say live every day right now, whatever your ability is today, is because leave those memories. If you're going to go, I want to leave as many memories here with them to hold on because that's what's going to make them feel good. is the memories. And so that's what I mean when I say live every day right now for the moment, is because the people around you, all you have is memories when it's all said and done. And that's for everybody. And so, like I said, if all I can do is color with my 15-year-old, even if she doesn't want to, I make her do it.
Yeah.
Because you'll thank me later, God forbid. You know what
Yep.
I mean? You
Yep.
will remember my mom used to make me color and I hated it, but she used to make me color. Memories are all we have at the end of the day. And so, like I said, I don't really get sad for me, I get sad for them. And the only thing I can do to appease that is make a new memory a good memory. And so I try to laugh every day. And even if it's a bad day and I don't feel good, because I might look okay right now, there's days that I just don't want to get out of bed because
Sure.
I hurt or my breathing is not right or my joints are hurting or I just don't feel good or I feel nauseous or whatever it is. It's like, so if we just all watch a movie together or we reminisce about things, like all I could say is make as many memories and just worry about today. What's happening today? Even if it's a stage 4 and they tell you there's nothing we can do for you, just worry about the memories and hold on and just know that the promises of God is what you can hang on to for yourself. But for them, they'll have the memories to hang on to. That's what I do. And that's no lie. That's 100% the truth for
You
me.
nailed it. Shauna, I absolutely love this. This was fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing this story.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. I can't wait to hear more stories. If anyone has had an EPP or something similar, please contact me. I want to know. Because sometimes you have surgeries and stuff, they tell you the basic side effects and what's typical. I want to know what it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. Shauna, this is gonna be one of these nights where I'm gonna shut this thing down and I'm gonna hang out with the
Yeah,
wife for a
I'm
little bit.
sorry.
No, no, no. I'm gonna hang out with the wife for a little bit, and then whenever she goes to bed, I'll probably end up rewatching this. Probably won't be able to sleep at all tonight. But this has been
Aw.
fantastic. So, what is it? 3 more weeks to your surgery? Does that
Yeah, so
sound
I
right?
am on the schedule for July 13th. Hopefully we can, when I'm finished and I'm like healed and I can talk and breathe again,
Yeah,
we can revisit that.
yeah, yeah.
But
That's
I will keep you in touch. Even when I'm down there, I want to try to post for the simple fact that I can't find anything and I can't find anyone online. And so I think that would be an opportunity. That's what's telling me you need to document what you're about to go through,
yep,
because somebody else is going to be in my situation and
yep,
want to know.
yep. This was
So
fantastic. All right,
thank you.
Shauna. Thank you so
Thank you so
much.
much. Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
And God
Thank
bless
you.
you and everybody else.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.